looks like the base of our wild mushroom stuffing is just about done. We got the cornbread out of the oven. Thank you for the gifts, Joe. Appreciate it. Alright, let's get a little bread in there. This is just some stuff that I haven't used in the last couple days. This is a biscuit. I just threw it in the oven. This is stale bread. You know, stuffing stuff. Now you can use fresh bread in stuffing. It works. But the reason why people prefer stale bread is that stale bread absorbs the liquid. I don't know, Babs. I have no clue what's going on tonight. Nothing. Nothing. But sometimes, you know, we just have a bad life. Okay. I think that's... Well, let's go ahead. Whatever's in my hand, I'm going to use. Alright. Mix it up. Get a little bit more broth in there. And call that a day. You have no clue how good this smells. And that dry bread is soaking up all the moisture just immediately. Now I'm making more than I need for today because I'm going to make this again tomorrow, maybe for a TikTok video. Okay, that's stuffing. Let's turn that off. What am I making? I'm making stuffed pork chops with a wild mushroom stuffing. And that was just the stuffing. So now I need stuffed pork chops. I've already taken the pork chops, made a deep cut all the way through. It's small on this side here, but my finger goes all the way in. As a matter of fact, I think, yeah, this is going to be good enough. Let me go get, let's spray this down here so that it doesn't stick. And we're going to get a bunch of the stuffing inside of here. This mushroom, wild mushroom smells so good. You guys, you should go to Amazon, go to the link in our bio and get these. boys. This one jar has lasted me years already. Do not be shy about getting it in there, okay? Stretch it. You want these to be fat boys, okay? I mean, fat boys. All right. So, this is what we're looking for. This is the width that it started off with, but it is stuffed all the way around. Okay, so let's get that in there. We're going to put just a little bit of oil and seasoning on top of this. This is going to go into the oven for 15 minutes. About 15 minutes, it should be near 140 degrees, and after it rests, it should come up to about 145 degrees. This is Cajun seasoning. I'm not seasoning both sides of it. I don't need to. And I'm not going to flip it. So, into the oven. 15 minutes. Alright, so this is done. We don't need that anymore. Let's go for what's next. We are going to make greens. So let's put some of this stuff aside. Now this is where I show you guys how to make greens that aren't bitter. Normally you take greens and you have to let them cook for a couple hours to get that bitterness out. At least, not all greens, but turnip greens, collard greens, they are traditionally very, very, very bitter. And some people love the bitterness of the greens, and some people hate them. So I'm going to show you how to get them out. If you take them and boil them, you can boil them for a few hours and the bitterness will go. True. Absolutely true. But if you actually take them and saute them, the oil will draw out the bitterness. Alright, so let's get a pot going on over here. We're going to put a little salt pork there. Salt pork is really just a piece of pork that has been covered in salt, and as a matter of fact, when you take it out, I think you can see this is salt residue, okay? This is salt residue. Alright, so you do have to rinse it off a little bit. But salt pork is traditionally used in greens. You can find many, many recipes where people have given up salt pork and gone to ham hocks or smoked turkey. Come on, Dad. You can come out. Now, I don't need all of it. this. I'm going to rinse off this outside because I don't need all that salt. But because of all the salt that's in the salt pork, I'm not going to put salt in this dish. All right, that's rinse off. And I'm going to cut it up into just little pieces. The point of this is flavor. All right, Babs. I don't know. Did you set a 15-minute timer for me, girl? Okay. All right. So let's do that. Thank you. That just means that I have to watch the chat now. All right. We're going to start this with a little oil. It looks like a lot of fat, but it's not really going to render a lot. Okay? Now, we're also going to put in a onion, and we're going to put in some little bell pepper. You see that I'm not using a whole of anything. It's because, again, I'm just making enough for me. This recipe is already up on Food Talk TV. So if you're interested in it, go find it. It's right there for you. Hey, Jeanette. Happy New Year's. Happy New Year's to the entire Food Talk TV family. I think that this year we're going to start having, we're going to start breaking some rules, and we're going to start having some of our big supporters in the box. Babs, Jeanette, I'm looking at you. Thank you for coming back, Sasha. Thank you everybody for coming back. Okay, so we're not dicing these onions because we actually want to be able to see them. A lot of times you just do quarters. Alright. Let's get this going. I'm going to wait for this because it doesn't really have to go down, and we actually want this texture a little bit, so this will be in there a little bit later. Alright. Now while this is going, I'm going to work on the greens. I need to be fast here. Which is saying a lot for me because I'm not that fast. Okay, so these have been washed. I've had them on this towel to help them dry out a little bit, but I don't really need them that dry. Only pans. How are you? Okay, so this seems like a lot. It's not a lot. These are collard greens and turnip greens. Come on, come on, come on. Okay. Gee, I'm glad that came out. I was about to go to the toolbox and get some wire snippers. The collards are a little bit darker. Turnip greens are a little bit brighter. I'm not going to go through a whole lot about stripping because I'm in a hurry. All I'm doing is breaking off the stems at the biggest part. Not much there. Not much there. Oops. And that's wilted. That one's good. This one's good. Awesome. Now for the turnip. I don't like it. I do like it. It's more stem than it is leaf. Big leaf. Nice. And see how fast we move through this entire bunch of greens? What's the difference between the two types of greens? You know what? Just two different plants. Turnip greens actually come from turnips. They're the leaves of turnips. Collard greens are just greens. I wish I could give you a better explanation, but I can't. Okay, so now not everybody slices their greens this way, but I do. I see a nasty one that snuck in there. It's got yellow on it. Not appealing to me. Babs, how we doing on those on that timer? Sherry says that she feels that turnip greens are the best. Yes. Thank you for sharing the live, guys. Guys, if you're just scrolling through, please give us a follow. Share this live with people that you love, and even if it's some people that you don't like, I don't care. Bring them in. Okay, so this looks like a lot of greens for one person. It is not. Do I got black eyed peas? You know I got black eyed peas. Come on. Come on. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this to the burner here. black-eyed peas and turnip greens. Okay. Okay, so let's go ahead and turn this to where you can see what's going on here. I'm going to add a little bit more oil in here. And if you missed it, I'm sauteing the greens. If you're doing things in a hurry, then you don't want your greens to be bitter and you don't have 2 hours. The oil will pull the bitterness out. So basically you can eat your greens in half an hour instead of 2 hours. Okay. All I'm doing is pulling the greens on the bottom up, getting the dry greens on the bottom, just folding it over. You don't have to do this, you can just get a lid. One minute left, or maybe you typed that a minute ago. That's fine. I'm going to go ahead and check on my pork chop. My stuffed pork chop that I put in 15 minutes ago. And I'm going to check the temperature on it. I'm looking for 140. It is at 148. So 15 minutes. Still going to be fine. That's stuffed pork chop with wild mushroom stuffing. So I'm going to set it over there and let it rest. We've got cornbread done. We've got the stuffed pork chop done. Got the greens done. Or we've got the greens in progress. Okay, now that these are wilted enough, we're going to go in with the orange pepper, thank you, Dad. And see how all those greens look like it was a lot? Not a lot. And I'm going to throw in a little chicken broth. About 2 weeks ago I showed how to break down chicken, all the parts that I wasn't going to fry up. I put in the oven and roasted it off and then made chicken broth. Now, we're going to throw in some Cajun seasoning for spice. This smells so good. It smells so good. The reason why we put the broth in is because I need to get these onions tender. We're not looking for crunchy onions in this. I do like the peppers to have a little bite to them, but the onions should be melted all the way down. Carol, you're new here. Am I a chef? Yes, I am. I'm a trained chef. Okay, so we're going to do this. Let this simmer for a few minutes while I get to work on the cowboy caviar, which is the black eyed peas. Clean it up a little bit. Clean it up a little bit. Yes, I did say caviar. Of course, not RX's caviar. RX's caviar is real caviar. Thank you, Carol. I not only serve as an example, many times I serve as a bad example. Ooh, you did ham. Ooh, I love it. Alright, so let me get a mixing bowl here. Okay, so there's a lot of Texas caviar recipes out there, and I have to say, I think that the people who are making this stuff just really don't like the black eyed peas, because this was a dish that was built around the black eyed peas. But what they'll do is they'll put a can of black eyed peas in, a can of corn, a can of black beans, and by the time that they're done, you barely know that it's a black eyed pea dish. And to me, that's just ridiculous. I mean, just ridiculous. Why would you do that? Okay, so we need to anyone who's not familiar with Texas caviar, this is a black eyed pea salad. It's basically a salad or a dip or a side dish. We need to get all the water out because we don't need any of the water here. I'm going to take this over to the sink real quick and put a little water in there just to reduce the little liquor that's in there. Okay. So in my Texas caviar, black eyed peas are the star of the show. Alright. We're putting in some black beans, but we're not putting in a whole can of it. I'll eat the rest of these black beans tomorrow. So I'm probably going to use maybe a quarter of the can. Okay, that's about it for that. This goes in the fridge for tomorrow. We're going to throw in some onion and some jalapeno. I've already cut the jalapeno into strips. Still need to dice it. And just so that you know, the greens are still going. Wouldn't want you to think that we forgot about them. Now, I don't like a lot of heat, so I made sure that I was careful about getting rid of as many seeds as possible. And an onion. I've already gone through all the steps of slicing all the way down, so at this point all I have to do just move it around a little bit. And it's diced. Carol is asking, are the peppers hot? Those are jalapenos. Sometimes they're hot, sometimes they're not. I don't like really hot stuff. So unless I'm trying to demonstrate to you guys a specific recipe that calls for a hotter pepper, I will take the jalapenos and I will make sure that I don't get the veins and that I don't get the seeds. And that way you just wind up with the flavor of the jalapeno and not the heat. Yeah, you know what? I hardly ever rinse the beans myself, but this is not anything that's being cooked. This is a cold salad, or a lot of times people use it as a dip. So we don't need all the liquid from it. I've diced up a tomato, which if we left all the rinsing, all the beans, or all the liquid from the beans and this, we would just wind up with a soup by this point. Since we're using Cajun seasoning in every part of the dish, we continue that. They call it marrying the dishes. Now see, what I've done is I've made the black eyed peas the star of this dish. Not like the other recipes or many of the other recipes that you're going to see for Texas caviar. What I'm doing right now is actually breaking up the pieces of onions that are still clumped together. Yes. Corn would make it look good, wouldn't it? Let me go find some corn. Oh my gosh. I just happen to have corn. That was the next thing going in there. Babs, you were right on it. When are you going to start your own show on Food Talk TV? That's what I want to know, Babs. And I'm not joking. Babs knows a lot. Jeanette, avocado. Avocado would make it look nice. I like avocado. I don't like cutting avocado. Okay, I'm going to keep the rest of this. That's all I need in there. And the last thing that I need, these are all the ingredients. The last thing I need is some vinaigrette. I didn't make it. I found it. I'm like, I have to use it. It's jalapeno lime vinaigrette. I mean, I think this must have been made for this, right? Jalapeno lime. It's by Wishbone. I've never seen it before. This. Come on. Look at that. Look at that. And it's so easy to make. I don't know why people do this only once a year. All right. I've got one last thing to do. I'm just going to make a little pan sauce. Let's move this to the side here. And then we're going to plate. Let's clean. Let's move. Thanks for sticking with us and bearing with me through all of the technical difficulties. I mean, too many today. Too many today. But you know what's really important? What's really important is that we start off the new year without giving up. Without giving up. You just keep going and keep going and keep going. And that's what we're doing here. Okay. So we've got a problem with that burner. Oop. T-fall. I can't use this one. On induction, I have to use that one. All right. And just so that you know, it wouldn't cause a fire or anything like that. It just won't heat up. For induction, the pan has to be magnetic. Otherwise it doesn't work. Okay, so let's go ahead and take the rest of these mushrooms along with that broth. We're going to heat this and as we heat it, we are going to whisk in butter. Now this is unsalted butter, but you know what? I don't care whether it's salted or not. I know the whole idea is, oh yeah, you control the salt of the dish, and that's the reason why you should use unsalted butter. But yeah, I've never had butter so salty that it ever ruined a dish. Just always give me more butter. That's all I want. Okay, so this, just making sure that it's nice and warm. Let's throw in some butter here. God, these wild mushrooms, they just smell so good. You just don't know. Alright. It's looking good. We're going to let this cook down just a little bit. Oh, what is that? Little paper from the butter. So I'm making basically an emulsion here, but I'm trying to reduce the liquid just a little bit. And I've got some more butter that's going to go in there. I second that emulsion. Coffee brewing. Okay, let's get the other butter in. So a pan sauce is basically the same thing as a gravy without the flour. And let's toss in just a little bit of salt here. A little bit of pepper. And let's give it a taste here. That's awesome. Okay. Alright, so let's turn this one off. And let's start to plate. How about that? How about that? So we start off this live with cornbread. That's the cornbread. You can find all these recipes at foodtalktv.com. Nice, fluffy, fluffy, fluffy. Okay, let's do that. And we move to the stuffed pork chop. Stuffed pork chop is stuffed with wild mushroom stuffing. And let's move this to our plate. After that, turnip greens, collard greens. This recipe is at foodtalktv.com. Get a little bit of salt pork on there. And those colorful orange peppers. Okay. Now, all those greens. This is seconds. That's it. It seemed like a lot. It seemed like too much. It ain't. Texas caviar. Okay, now let me explain to you why these are New Year's foods. Greens. Green is for money. Cornbread. Cornbread is gold. Prosperity. Pork. Now, pork, because pigs eat moving forward. They never move backwards. It is a sign of moving forward in the new year. And peas and beans are signs of opulence. So this is the good luck New Year's meal. Now a lot of Asian cultures also celebrate with citrus, so we're going to do that too. And citrus never hurt. It just never hurts to have something fresh. So we're going to cut this off here. I'm going to cut it off here. Cut it in half here. And I'll save this one. Oh no, you know what? I'm going to eat them both, so why am I going to save? Also, easy way to serve your kids if they have problems peeling an orange. Okay? Now, the pan sauce. Let's move this. Remember, this is stuffed with the wild mushrooms too. Okay. And of course, that pan sauce goes everywhere, but guess what? Guess what? That's what the cornbread is for. All right. One thing though, I do want to show you, we're going to go ahead and cut this open so that you can see what happened in 15 minutes, okay? So I'm going to take it off now that you guys have all seen the plate. We're going to go back to some technical stuff here. Because I guess because this is Food Talk TV, we have to do that. Thank you, Carol. I appreciate that. Okay, so we're going to go back to the stuffed pork chop, so that you can see how well it's stuffed. Hey, Penny. So that little bitty pocket that I made at the beginning, even though it was only a small hole here, I made sure that I could go as far back as I could, okay? And this is the wild mushroom stuffing. You can actually see a piece of the bread still survived. And I haven't eaten. Thank you, Coffee Bruin. I haven't eaten. So I'm going to get to eating on this. And of course, I'm going to let you see whether I'm going to let you watch me so we can see whether I'm faking all of this and it's really just nastiness. Oh, hey, there you are. Okay, so I'm hungry, so I'm going to go after the stuffed pork chop, okay? Remember, I only cooked this for 15 minutes at 350. A mistake that a lot of people make is they overcook their pork. This went in raw into the oven at 350 for 15 minutes. And it's cooked perfectly all the way through. Thank you, Wacky Littles. This is so good. This is so good. You guys, you got to get these wild mushrooms. Go to the link in our bio, and it's the first thing up there. I'm only going to have it up there for a couple days, but because we always put Andrea's knife up there next. So, but get these mushrooms. This jar has lasted me 3 years. As a matter of fact, this is 16 ounces, 1 pound. But once it's hydrated, I would swear that this would make half a barrel. I mean, that's how big they get. Mm. Okay. I gotta taste the greens. We're gonna stop eating the pork chop. This thing is so tender. Okay, let's go for the greens. These are the mustard greens and the turnip greens. They've got salt pork, onions, orange peppers, and the recipe is on the website. No bitterness. Zero bitterness. The trick to doing that without cooking them for 2 hours is to saute. The oil draws out the bitterness. Now, if you don't want to just serve a big pan, a big skillet of greens, you can saute them and then throw them in your green pot the way you normally would. Oh, I got a piece of that salt pork. It is so yummy. There's salt pork. Okay. Now, Texas caviar. Tomatoes, corn, jalapeno, onions, and the star is black-eyed peas. This makes me feel like home. Mm. Mm. I've got another can of black-eyed peas. I think I'm going to make some Hoppin' Johns. Boozy Floozy! Hi, Cha-Cha! Okay. So, you guys, you caught me at the end, or if you just came in, you caught me at the end of the live. I appreciate all of you. I want everybody to have a great New Year's. And just like in this year, or just like in last year, this year, I just need you to remember, the world is full of good people. Thank you. If you can't find one, be one. I love you. Happy New Year's.